Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World. We are live with another tournament match today. Alcaras versus Blaj, part 5. Well into their game now here on turn 90. Very exciting times. There's some build-up along their borders here. I'm going to get a bit of a recap of the situation. We are looking at the Alcaraz perspective. Looks like the Yadha was just built. Yadha, that's how you say that. I think I always swap the L and the K when I say that. That's always nice. Let's see, we're at 40. Right, yes. So basically, Alcaraz has the economy in full swing. What's our wonder situation? There's plenty of wonders on the board. He has a legendary city, so we're looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 points to get him to 52 if he wants it. And then, of course, is Behind the Throne on? I don't remember. Behind the Throne appears to be off in this, so there's no opulence points. He's going to have to secure some territory for the final victory, it looks like. Well, no, because then we have, that's, what did I say, 12? Puts it at 52. This would be 53, 54, 55. Yeah, 56. Okay. Yeah, so Alcaraz can win just by turtling up. That's our situation here. Why can't I access my thing? My live feed here. Want to be able to see chat. I don't know how to bring that up on my actual computer. Let's see where we are. All right, I am in. I'm looking at chat. Oh, yeah, and maybe posting a link to Discord would be nice. Correct. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, Discord link. That's what's next. That's what's next. Sorry if you're watching on YouTube. Forgive me. The players are just logging in now. So if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, we're getting a little bit of a slow start here. And I'm just kind of bumbling about. We'll do a recap here once I find my link, my live link, and put it on Discord. And say, hey, everybody, we're live. Where am I? Here we are. Oh, okay. Well, Solver did it for me, so thanks, Solver. And hello, Soren. Hello. Wow, the first 3 people. See, if you're watching after this on YouTube, I have to just give the Mohawk team a shout out here. We all love this game so much. And I say we, I'm not really a part of the team, but I'm an unofficial member. I've given myself that title. But anyway, no, literally, it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday, right? Yeah, it's a Sunday. We have some old world happening. And the first 3 people to message me in live chat today all work for Mohawk. We have Solver, we have Fluffy Bunny, and we have Soren Johnson himself all saying, hello! So yeah, hello guys. Thanks for joining. Hello, Jams, Nizar. Oh yeah, Nizar. Yes, so you were messaging me about a co-cast. I do not have a co-cast. You can hop on. Just give me a second because I need to get myself set up so I can listen to you. And yeah, so just to do a recap here, it's there was some slow expansion on the Babylonian side, but the Babylonians have officially finally cleared their whole map. We have a very relatively freshly settled city down here. We can still see some damage units from clearing the peninsula. It's turn 90 now. We have strong buildup along the Carthage border. There was some contestation over Dur Athara, which was honestly a pretty insane battle. Blaj being able to hold the fort was pretty incredible. And I think, if I recall, he did have an opportunity to maybe press in to Alcaraz and punish and advance, but it looks like that window has closed shut here. We have massive fortress building up along the border. which is going to make it difficult for Blaj to break in. And for those of you just joining us, I just want to point out that given the difference in economies here, well, I mean, I guess actually Babylon could do some wonder spamming, I suppose. But if we look at if we do an actual calculation of the scores right now and count up the remaining total of wonders, if Carthage manages to spam every single wonder, then with the remaining points that they have from these developing cities into strong cities, they can win off points. They have everything they need right now, unless Babylon starts denying wonder points from them to win the game. So Alcaras can do exactly what he's doing right here, spamming forts, spamming ballistas, spamming siege, tossing in the occasional wall here, and just sit pretty and wait to see how Blaj reacts. And then he can, if he needs to, he can go fishing for more points later. We have 228 science. Nazar, I'm going to have you hop in once I finish up this recap, just so I can keep my focus. Yeah, we have 220 stats. Let's do a quick recap of the stats here, actually. And then we'll get our buddy Nazar in here. Yeah, we have a massive ballooning of science. Babylon had a huge lead. Ooh, interesting. It's not showing me the totals here. Probably because this is from maybe a previous build. That's a little weird. But anyway, 223 science to 144. They were the science lead on Babylon for quite a while here. Orders probably favors Carthage here. 46 to 36, but I'm assuming that there are plenty of work returns active in Babylon. This is the game where Alcaras has just had an insane economy all game. I think when we looked at the net totals here the last time, it was something like 20K for Alcaras and then still something in the negative for Blaj. So he's had a massive wealth lead all game. Military score, Alcaras is really ramping up. Blaj has actually been ahead steadily for quite some time. However, Carthage is just fortifying his position. Legitimacy is fine. What else do we care about? I want to take a quick look at overall economies. Alcaras has 230 improvements to Blaj's 157. Techs discovered 32 on Carthage to 30 on Blaj, so a few more techs there, but some of those are probably bonus cards. Military units is another one I'm interested in. I remember at the start of this game, Carthage had very little military production. He had something like 20 units, but most were tribal. He had only built something like 2 or 3 slingers. But now the Carthage military machine has ramped up. 53 for Blaj, 42 units produced for Alcaras, and a mass... Oh, no, the worker count is actually the same. 28 to 27. Specialists, 55 to 42. Population's roughly the same. Wealth gap currently is 4,000 for Carthage to 2,600 for Babylon, and both players have 7 laws or more, and 5 wonders in Carthage to 0 on Blaj. So Blaj is going to have to ramp up his wonder production to try and deny those points to force Carthage to go into a fight against him. We are 2 turns away from infantry square for Blaj, and we're getting battle line, so we're a little bit behind on that tempo when it comes to Alcaraz. It looks like Alcaraz is actually pinging infantry square as well. So both players are going for pikes, which I find fascinating. And let's go get our buddy Nazar in the call. I'm going to give you a buzz now. Oh, sorry, I didn't let Alcaraz know that I was in the game. I mean, I did, but inconsistent way. All right, so let me call Nazar. Let me get my headphones on. And let me call this guy. Oh, also, chat, I need you to let me know something. Hold on. Where is this? Before I do the call, I'm really curious about something. Let me know if you can hear this. It should sound like thunder. It's still going right now. All right, calling Nazar.
Hello.
Hello, Nazar. Thanks for joining the cast. Beck,
It's
you heard the
always a pleasure.
fantastic. Okay. All right.
So,
I'm so excited. I've just confirmed that the sound bank that was supplied to us by the community member Beck does in fact work. Um, so that's fun. I don't have it quite set up with the sounds that I want yet, but some trolling in the next cast will very likely be a thing. Now, one last thing. Sound check for Nazar. Can everybody hear our friend Nazar?
hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing well.
Good to be back. Feel like
It's
you had a bit of
great
a
to be back.
break because you ended up so high in the bracket that it's been a while. So you've had a nice practice session weekend.
Yes, the loss from Aaron really hampered on my feelings, so I kind of needed to take a moment there away from the game, but we're back, baby, and we are back to casting this wonderful game.
Yeah,
So, jumping right into it immediately, this is right now Blaj's turn, and one of the events that may have been missed. He got an event that gives him either a court scholar or 540 science.
yeah.
Infinity Square, he needed 2 turns for it. He already has it now, and he is on the way to get Portokellis. Thoughts? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, he has he's had 5 scouts for like the majority of the game, which was something that really it was nice at the start, but then I remember when he was getting into the battle, it was ironic because he had more scouts than you ever normally would have, but his vision still kind of sucked. He didn't have him in the right position. So now that he has these agent networks set up, he's going to have a clearer picture of what his opponent is capable of, and that's always really nice to have. I love playing with Portcullis. It basically gives you the ability to play the game the way we're viewing the game. You effectively get to play it in spectator mode, much like how we can click on Babylon and take a peek around what's happening. So can the player who has an agent in this city. So by the late game in these head-to-head duels, you can start to expect that your opponent can see what you're doing, really. I mean, that vision, especially, I mean, there's not much map, right? It's just your empire versus your opponent's empire. So when you're looking at turn 80, 90, 100, there's a fair chance that you can be in a situation where your opponent has full visibility if they decide to go for Portcullis. Not always the most popular pick, but I think I personally love it. I love having Portcullis in the roster. It's just tricky to figure out when to actually deviate and grab it.
The, a quick look at everything, and I kind of missed the last part. I did cast a couple of moments in this game, I believe. Has been such an interesting game. I mean, it's year 90, and we have 40 points on Alcaraz out of 56. Blaj has to be really, really careful because right now it's hanging on a knife's edge.
Yes.
If if he does not, because the time is clicking for him, and he doesn't, he has the really strong economy. He has 138 stone per turn. He could do something with that. He could go for the wonders and try to deny, but he needs to make a decision. How does he want to end the game? How does he want to win? And it feels like he's a little bit lost on what to do.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that he shows us otherwise this come around.
One thing I really like here is this setup of these defensive positions here because it's apparent that a good chunk of the force well, at least this frontline force, maybe not a good chunk, but our spear is for Babylon. So what we see out of Alcaras is his entire front line is axes. But what I find fascinating is, so yeah, spears coming into the axes, fully fortified, in force, do only 2 damage. But if we go across the bay, or this plane here, what Blaj has done is he put all these spears behind this river. So these axes coming in actually would only still do 4 damage, or in this case, 3 up here. And these are not in forts and not fully fortified, except for this northern one. So that really just emphasizes, I wanted to point that out because it really emphasizes the tactical advantage of having a river when you have a battle line like this, because these rivers on their own are almost as good as having fortress fortified units. Because remember, the axe is the direct counter to the spear, and so we're still only doing 4 damage here, and conversely, we can do 2 damage to the axe. So of course, that's a big gap, where it counts. But if we put a couple forts behind this river too, this axe would probably only do 2 damage to these spears. That's a really, really great way, if you pay attention to these terrain differences, that you can leverage terrain and the tactical element of this game to try and create a bit of a safe buffer here. Because Blaj, of course, can see all of the axes, so it can seem like a bit of a mistake to frontline with spears, but this river gives him a little bit of a buffer there, and that's kind of cool.
I don't think he has. I mean, looking at his army, he could put the maceman at the front.
Sure, absolutely.
But a spearman will protect him from having those elephants just run him down.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
actually,
he's
let's
kind of in a
grab an
tight
elephant.
spot defense-wise.
Let's grab an elephant. Is this an 8 strength one? No. There we go. Right? Oh, are they all 8 strength? Oh, turreted elephant. Yeah. Okay, so, and even in the 8 strength, I mean, I guess that's the tricky thing about forming defensive lines here when you're dealing with Carthage or anybody who has access to elephants is that a quick panic will dislodge any of these guys from their position. I actually saw a Reddit comment earlier today, somebody griping about panic dislodging their person from a fort. And it's so funny because they were like, oh, that seems like, that doesn't seem like it makes sense. Should it get nerfed or whatever? And I couldn't help but think, it's like, well, I mean, that's kind of the tactical point of the elephant, right?
If you can't really push anything from a fort, because like if panic doesn't work on a fort, then forts are too overpowered. You need some sort of balance.
No, I agree. I think it's nice. Basically, I think everything in this game, from a tactical sense, both units and abilities, in theory, should have a counter, right? That's actually one of the reasons why, at first, I didn't mind the general immunity on the ruler thing when it was implemented, but I quickly shifted to Filthy's perspective on that, where I actually don't like that change, because I think one of the values of the tactician stun was the ability to stun things like zealots or heroes, and get them to shut them down, and now you just can't do that. And so that accidentally buffed zealots and heroes a bunch, and it's kind of nightmarish to deal with.
Yes, definitely agree with you on that point. At the same time, I don't see any other solution to early game tactician rush.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the issue you end up lining up yourself with. So I don't envy the developers on this one, to be honest, solving the whole tactician early game rush.
Well, if you ask me, we just traded a tactician for a zealot. I mean, now zealot rushes are terrifying. I mean, they're horrifying to deal with. So I mean, either way, it sucks. But yeah.
Yes. As a person who deals with the zealot rush from Ninja for the last couple of months, nope, not fun.
He got me with it a couple days ago too. He got me with it last week. We did 2 games. The second one I was able to shut down, but I still lost the game long term anyway. But the first one, I knew it was coming, but I tried to be ballsy and play greed anyway, and yeah, he got me. All right, so
right
anyway.
Now, Blaj is still thinking about what to do. He's taking his time. He's building one more scout.
Check on the chat, see how our players are doing.
Back.
Yep.
He needs to do something about his negative gold. To be honest,
that is a pretty
kind of ugly
big income gap. I do like this running of the hunt. Maybe it could be a bit higher version, but I mean, that's definitely going to help you economy-wise. Could possibly be building something else. I mean, 3-turn maceman is pretty solid. 3-turn onagers, 3-turn ballistas would be pretty solid, but I mean, I guess the food's not high value here. I would have figured maybe...
It really is not. It's 1 gold per food for a hunt level 2.
Yeah, never mind on that.
Takes 200
With Carthage in the
only to
game, I
understood.
automatically assume that the prices for everything are going to skyrocket because it's very common that Carthage just relies on their gold. But Alcaraz' economy is insane. He has over 200 of every single resource right now, in addition to 600 gold per turn. So he is just in full swing, late game Alcaraz mode at this point. You know, this is the exact type of point in a game where you do not want to be fighting this player.
What I have learned against Alcaraz is that if you don't win before turn 90, you're asking to lose.
Yeah.
That's the
At
number
best,
one lesson I
yeah.
learned.
If you, as long as it doesn't, tank your own game, if you can win in 60 to 80 turns against Alcaraz, that's your best bet. Otherwise, you just need to make sure he's one of those players that, regardless of his tactical ability or anything else, it's one of those things where it's like you only want to play a long game of Old World if you have a lot of confidence in your end game, and your ability to build an empire and your ability to manage late game units, your ability to navigate the tech tree and, make the right decisions, as things open up and become more complex. So if you don't have a strong end game, then you want to be focusing on how to end games either early or by the mid game, because some of these players, when they hit the end game, we saw this in Fluffy Bunny's Carthage match where he got jurisprudence. Some players hit the end game and they're just playing on a completely different level, and but fortunately for some players, they still have to get to that point first, and Alcaraz certainly sometimes can struggle to get to that point, which
Right.
and then interestingly enough, other players are the opposite. Ninja, I think, is a player who comes on very, very strong, and of course he still is a strong tactician and he can still win games late, but he can tend to fall off if the game goes too long, if so it's interesting. It will be interesting to see a Ninja versus Alcaraz matchup, because I feel like Ninja would very likely have strong odds of taking Alcaraz out early. But I think if Alcaraz can survive Ninja's early tactics, I think the 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 tempo would shift in Alcaraz's favor once we go late game. So it'd be very interesting to see contrasting play styles like that. We have a
So
zealot on the
we
throne in Babylon, by the way, which
and the zealot moved forward,
yes,
and on an Akkadian, not an Akkadian, it's the other a Crimean archer or Cimmerian archer, and he deals 11 damage or 12 damage to that wonderful, wonderful onager,
yeah,
and 8 damage to a fourth unit, the Axeman. It's as if it's nothing.
yeah. Unfortunate that
10
Carthage has
courage.
a shitload of ballista, though, because you really, I mean, oh man, that's going to be brutal if Alcaraz decides to attack. I feel like Alcaraz is in a, that's the interesting thing. We're probably going to be in for a little bit of a stalemate here. Unfortunately, I know sometimes our viewers are really clamoring for the action to get started here, but Alcaraz is a cautious player. He is in a strong position right now. He does have a win condition available to him. He can sit back, rake up these points. In theory, there's honestly no reason for Alcaraz to attack at all. The onus is on Blaj to ensure that Alcaraz can't win the game. It's currently Alcaraz's game to lose, even though, we're on 40 points out of 56, right? So we're getting pretty close. So I would be surprised to see Alcaraz make the first move. However, I actually think if he did, it would be a very strong opening salvo, and I think he could do some serious damage here if he decided to go for Dur Athara. But he was burned last time he attempted to do this. He thought it seemed like all odds were in his favor before, but Blaj managed to do what he did, or do what he does normally, earned himself a nickname on my YouTube channel. A couple players came around. I forget who it was. Called him the Comeback Kid, and it's because
A wonderful name.
it really is. Because in every single game Blaj has played so far, there has been at least one moment in the game where the caster, the audience, the commentators, at one point said, "Oh no, Blaj is going to lose," and then he goes on to win the game. So he seems to be very good at hanging on and fighting tooth or nail and getting out of situations where it looks like he's going to lose the games. And so I'll be very curious if he achieves that here. I feel like Alcaraz is in full momentum here, so it's going to become really, really tricky to pull that off. But if anyone could do it, I suppose it will be Blaj.
We are now on Alcaraz, who has
Timer has
51
started.
orders.
51 orders, yep.
That's a huge amount of orders. He's definitely winning the order economy right now. And this is with 15 improvements running.
Yes. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, that's 51 orders with 15 improvements. That's insane. So that's like 66, nearly 70 orders per turn. And actually, I didn't even do a check. And in Babylon, we're looking at 38 plus 18. So we're looking at about 56. So they have roughly the same order count, but where Alcaraz is now, except Alcaraz has another extra 15 or so orders to work with. So that's pretty solid on that front. And we are now looking, if you look on the map here, on the mini map, you now can see everything that Alcaraz can see. So this whole swath of Babylonian territory, this isn't spectator mode. This is all agents and why can't I remember what they're called? Scouts. There we go.
I want to also highlight just real quick, and these orders numbers that we just mentioned for Alcaraz, these are without decree.
Yeah, he's
And
not.
he can have double decree, one in his capital,
Yeah.
one in Maleth, which is the statesman capital. That's 9 and 12 because the capital is legendary.
Oh wow.
That's not a small amount. That's 21 orders. You can move your whole army as if you're playing Civilization.
Yeah, and
You don't have to worry about orders.
on that note, one thing I want to point out too is in his statesman seat, he can run decree 3 indefinitely every single turn. He has 78 civics per turn. Decree costs 80 civics per turn. So with overflow, that will just run on one turn pretty much indefinitely. And over in the capital, we have 66 civics per turn. Decree 4 for 12 orders is 100 civics. So he can run this every 2 turns indefinitely, which gives him an effective order rate of, call it, what is that? An extra 15 orders per turn on top of what he currently has. So he has roughly, massive earthquake in Babylon, by the way. He has roughly 30 more orders than his opponent, which is just wild. Wild, wild, wild. I mean, again, and that end game economy, right? That's what you're looking to get yourself set up for. You want to get yourself set up into a position where you're running something like decree every single turn, because eventually when you have an economy like this, 200 of every resource, solid income, 200 science, 200 civics, 100 training per turn. It's like we're building a couple apprentice officers, and I mean, God love them. Fine, good job, Alcaraz, but this is just overkill. There's no reason why every single build queue right now couldn't just be spamming military units. Every queue up here, like the decrees, can be just spamming their decrees. And this is like the turtle greed play, right? I'm not saying he has to go on the offensive here, but in theory, literally Alcaraz can just stop developing right now. Like there's this obsession that the 4X strategy gamer has. We're all addicted to it to just get more and more and bigger and larger numbers. But I mean, eventually you hit a threshold, especially in these head-to-head matchups, these duels, where it's like, man, your game, your empire, your kingdom is online. You can stop and you can just focus on winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're gamers. Numbers goes up, we
Yeah.
feel good.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the same time, you gotta remember that Alcaraz is not going for the idea of, yeah, I can finish the game right here, right now. He's going for the idea of, I want to make sure that no matter what happens, I win the game.
Yeah.
That there is absolutely no way he can come back from it. So it's I understand what he's doing and I get it. And you've done that, the same move against me in a game. literally 2 days ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's understandable what he's doing, even though it's an overkill. The question is,
Well, yeah, like
what
I
would
said,
he do?
in fairness, Alcaraz has no actual reason to attack right now. Like he can just
Yes,
sit back and slowly win the game, and yeah, that's a safe play. It might be the less exciting play, but it's certainly a safe play. So yes, in that context, I mean, what else is he going to do with 50 orders per turn? That's another reason why I love Doctrine so much, or Orthodoxy so much.
right.
I would be, I'd be just rushing ballistas every single turn.
Every year in it, every time.
Yeah,
You don't need
every
to do
massive,
anything.
massive amount of ballistas. And but see, and that's the thing. Is sometimes you can shoot yourself in the foot. It's like it's very difficult to know, I think. Do you just sit back and try to cruise to a win, or do you try to make a definitive strike against your opponent to force a surrender? I'm more inclined to try and make a definitive strike. But yeah, sometimes, like you said, in our game, that practice match that we just played the other day, yeah, no, I had the points on the table, and so there was no real reason to risk going up against you and trying to fight a battle if I would lose it. So yeah, nothing wrong with
I want
sitting
to make
back and cruising to the win if you have it.
I want to make this prediction, and hopefully I am right on this prediction. The more people get good at this game, the more we play as players, the more likely that the games from here on out are going to end up with a point victory rather
Probably.
than a military domination.
Probably. Well, see, so what it is, and you're half right. I think you're half right. I think the concept of what you're saying is 100% right, because we saw this in the Mojo versus Oro match, which was arguably, I think, the longest match in the entire game. I think what happens is when you have two players of similar skill that go up against each other, that more than anything, regardless of map size, regardless of player access, or whatever else, is I think what will ultimately lead to longer games, because you have two things in play. A, both players are developing their militaries, their their economies and everything at a similar pace, so no one's falling behind, which means no one's able to get a definitive leverage. Similarly, when you have a battle that takes place, like my first battle with Oro against Oro in my game, I got, in fairness, I got destroyed in that first battle. But even after I walked out of that battle, I still wasn't even weaker than him. He like bumped me back down to similar. So it's like the
Right.
point I'm making is even in that battle, no one got into a position to just end that game. That game went for another 40 or 50 turns. And I think you'll see that when you have players of similar skill, players of better skill go up against each other, you're going to run into basically more stalemates, because it becomes harder and harder to get that definitive edge against your opponent.
Agreed. 100% agreed. The question is, what is Alcaraz going to do from here? And
He's
the
going to
answer
turtle up
is
and keep building his
more
economy.
builds. More builds. He
He's just going to keep
has
building shit.
22 improvements running right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
22.
Yeah. He's got
And
28
he can do
workers, I
more.
believe, and so 21 of them are
Yeah.
working right now, currently. That's crazy. But I mean, yeah, you're going to do what you're going to do.
25 workers in total. That
Yeah.
is amazing. That is wonderful. More monasteries are being built, and now he's going to eclipse Blaj in science, which we're already seeing it. He's still primitive, I believe. Yes, he's primitive to Blaj, because
Wow.
Blaj just has a lot more research. But they're on equal footing in research, or is he higher? He's higher now, right?
Yeah, his actual science rate is higher, significantly higher. But Blaj got such a lead early on that Alcaraz has basically spent the last 30 to 40 turns just playing catch up. But once he does, that's going to be a very tricky situation for Blaj. And that's what a little bit of a bait, right? Blaj doesn't have bad science rate himself. 163, compared to Alcaraz, it's like 120. Or 220, sorry,
220.
220, 220.
Yeah.
And so, but then you see that thing like, oh, I'm erudite to my opponent, or they're primitive or whatever. That can bait you, man. You can think that you have 163 science while your opponent has 90, and you can be oblivious to the fact that they've actually surpassed you.
I if I was Blaj right now, like let's look at this from a Blaj perspective right here.
Mhm.
If I am sitting in Blaj's seat and I am playing this game, the only thing I would be thinking of and looking at what Alcaraz has,
Mhm.
cataphract, 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 cataphract. Just run him down. Oh, he has all of these wonderful onagers. Congratulations. I can run them down.
You know what?
Horsemen,
You're not
anything.
wrong at all. I actually agree with you. There is barely a spear in Carthage right now, which actually makes complete sense why we have Carthage Alcaraz targeting infantry square as his next tech priority, because even his axemen here will be able to upgrade into spikes, so pikes. So him grabbing infantry square is going to shore up an incredible gap in his army formation. That's
Right?
I mean, I'm as far as I can tell, I think I can literally only see one spear here. Yeah, there is one spearman in the entirety of the Carthaginian military. So it makes complete sense why he's beelining to pikes now, because that's his main weakness. And yes, even in all these forts, it'll be tricky to get a route. It only does 3 damage, this chariot here. But if that becomes a cataphract, that will uh, jump up
It will just
significantly.
wreck.
Yeah.
It will just run them down.
And that's what I love
Um,
about this game so much, is that cataphracts are devastating, right? Like they can just destroy so much stuff.
right.
However, they're kind of completely useless against pikemen. So I really love the way that the units combat strength were structured in a way that it's like, because it the counters augment like the base strength. So like a pikeman is like 100% strength against horse or whatever. You know, it's a brutal unit against a cataphract. Except if it goes up against a swordman, it's paper. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's
Even
such a
against macemen.
even against a
Even against
maceman,
macemen,
they
paper.
basically run even, and even a maceman. I think they both do 5 damage to each other, something like that, 5 or 6 damage. I think they basically run even, a mace versus a pike, or pretty close to it. So yeah, and I love that about this game. I love that, because there was a question in chat too, like, well, how do you deal with ballista, or Discord? How do you deal with this ballista spam? Even a chariot. If we take a chariot back here, oh, that's 5 and a 4. Oh, I can't see. Here we go. Yeah, do 8 damage. This 8 damage to a ballista, 5 damage to this onager. I wonder why that's only 5. Oh, because it's not on flat. Um, yeah, so even a couple of chariots zooming around are still useful by the time your opponent gets a big siege line. Like, if you can't make it to horsemen, there's still value in pumping out a bunch of chariots because of the way this damage calculation happens. It's really cool. It's really, really, really cool.
Blaj is dealing with that earthquake right now, and even with that earthquake, his stone production is in the positive, so
Yeah.
that is great news for him. Usually, it just cripples your economy completely when it comes to stone. He does have a lot of iron production, which is good, but if he really wants to win the game, he's gonna need to deny Alcaraz and force him to go on the attack with going for wonders.
I'm sure I called this out plenty in the first halves of these games, but I just want to emphasize, I'm pretty sure last we checked, um, before the earthquake, Blaj's stone rate was like 150, 170 or something. And I want to call attention to the fact that Blaj has just recently colonized this mountainous peninsula. The majority of his stone income is coming from these arid flatland quarries beds, or even a quarry
Wow.
bed all up here, right? And I really can never stress the strategic value of just building quarries wherever you can. Because if we hop on over to Carthage, yes, they're making a massive amount of stone, and a good portion of that is now coming from mills and this stone down here, and these quarries down here. But conversely, Alcaraz didn't really quarry too much in the immediate places available to him, and so Blaj had a very comfortable and solid stone income without access to this mountainous peninsula that Alcaraz had for most of the game. And so you got to get your resources wherever you can get them, is basically what I'm saying.
And when you're desperate, you're desperate. You
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do. Take what you have.
Actually, that played a factor in our game, our practice match that we just played. Our both, because it was the point symmetry, right? We both
Yes.
were in primarily arid terrain. So your champ seat, I think, was where I had a landowner's family, and
Right.
comparatively, if you looked at my empire, it was like 60% flatland quarries. But if you looked at your empire, you did the traditional thing where it's like you were gravitating your quarries towards the mountains for the mountain bonus. And played a huge factor in how I was able to spam wonders all game.
Yes, that is true.
So always gonna give a shout out to the Flatland Quarry. It's a bit of a habit. My apologies, but it's just
No,
something that I always make note of when I watch these games. It's like it plays a real, maybe not game defining factor, but you can see it play a real economic factor early on. Who gets their quarries out, where they put them, how quickly they put them out there, and yeah, it's always interesting
so
to observe.
in Shurabak, in the middle, we have a stronghold that will disappear in 2 years. I don't think that Blaj has seen it. That would be unfortunate. That is 110 stone. That is gonna be gone in
Oh,
Shurabak.
he's gonna get baited by the. Look at this. I've complained about this before. Look at this. This is why I never build. You might actually notice. People might actually notice this. I try to never build units, any buildings immediately around my city center, because when you're zoomed out, look, how the hell am I supposed to catch that this thing is pillaged? Like, of course, you can see it
Yeah.
because it's yellow now that it's yellow, but that used to be white, right? So when that's just a white text up there, and from all these different angles, it's like it's very easy to miss. Oh no, it's one turn away.
No, he finished. He
Let's do
finished
it.
the. He finished the turn with 13 orders still on him.
Let's do it. There isn't even a free worker nearby. He would have to cancel a current improvement. So
No,
that
there is
tells me
one
he
to the south.
probably has not spotted this.
There is one to the south that will end a work in one turn, so he can actually run and fix it. But
No, this will end next turn. He's got one turn left. He has to repair this
no, it
this
was
turn.
2 turns. It was two
Oh, oh,
turns.
oh, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because the
Yeah,
turn just swapped
because
over. The turn just swapped over. Right. Okay. So
yes,
we'll keep an
I
eye out
still
on
have it.
this worker. Oh, he's got it. He already has it mapped out. This is awesome. Okay, so this is happening. If you click on the worker on the mountain, on the hill rather, down on Kish, you'll see that he already actually has the repair mapped out. So, whoof! Thankfully, he has spotted it.
It's all calculated. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Fantastic. Love to see it. Love to see it. Getting land
Right now
consolidation
we're
now
on
in Babylon.
Alcaraz.
That's another thing about this southern peninsula. Quite a solid amount of groves down here, a solid amount of pastures. This really was, in terms of a place to settle and colonize, this really was a fantastic peninsula. It's unfortunate that Blaj missed it for his game because Alcaraz was able to take
Right.
decent advantage of the terrain down here.
That's why you do training, because without training, you wouldn't realize that that peninsula was there. It will take you a lot of time to realize. You need to go into the game and try and play duels for you to be able to realize, oh, that area looks weird. There might be something in there that I need to check.
Yeah. I think it's such a tricky proposition against Carthage because you don't want them to swallow up the map. So I suspect what was motivating Blaj's push towards the center was probably this idea that he didn't want to go south, clear up this peninsula, and then have Carthage sitting right on his doorstep because Carthage did Carthage mercenary shit and just gobbled up all the map. Remember, this game was also Actually, I don't remember if the game was before or after the Carthage nerf when it started, to be honest. It's been going for a little while now.
I have another range being built in Sabrata for Alcaraz. So he's just focused on more urban economy and, urban lands or urban improvement and economy. More mills being built. Right now, if I was Blaj, I would be begging for a builder heir. Just abdicate to him and try to catch up. So I'll be doing infantry squares in 6 years or 6 turns for Alcaraz. So he's just unlocking his potential, that's for sure.
All right, so I'm going to ask this for Chad again, but I'm also going to ask this you to Nazar, so both of you same time. Nazar, can you hear this?
I can hear you. What?
Okay.
Hear what?
Can you? I'm going to pause. You're going to hear a weird noise. Can you hear this noise? Yes or no?
I cannot hear it now. I'm watching
Okay,
the stream.
great. Chat, can you hear that noise? This is so funny. Oh, man.
Yes, I can hear it in the stream.
That's hilarious. Oh, man. Oh, that's so funny.
A soundboard, huh? That feels good.
It's great. All of the different sound. Also, like the stingers. Although you know what, I hate the event stingers in this game. The event stingers are like 60% of the reason why I don't play with sound in this game, because like half of them give me a migraine if I hear them at least twice. And the way the events, kind of bombard you in the game, it's just repeated stingers being thrown in your face every single turn. It's just a nightmare.
Right now we have.
Sounds like a kaiju coming to meet you. Yeah. Well.
Right now
Oh.
we have Alcaraz with all his families following the state religion. So again, he's very happy right now. While on the opposite direction, the whole families for Blaj are following paganism rather than Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, if we take a look at his families, they're not the happiest I've ever seen.
Yeah, politics in
Even
Babylon's not looking that great. Not the worst, but not fantastic. If we look over in Carthage, however, the political situation is phenomenal. 2 friendly families and 1 pleased, and just an amazing religious situation. Of course, Alcaraz just spent some time getting his Stompy boys in position, so we got Stomp Stomp.
right now, oh, I'm looking at this even more
I
a little
love
bit.
it. Sorry, keep going.
Go ahead. Right now I'm just looking at the religion. Also, again, a little bit for Blaj. His discontent with the families are like negative 500. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not the most ideal. And to add, his leader is Zoroastrianism.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even follow Judaism. He's with the enemy right now.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the thing is even if you swap to Judaism or paganism, then
It
that
would
wouldn't
affect
actually
him
increase his
by.
opinion at all, because they're all maxed out. Yeah, but I mean,
No, it
he
would
might as
affect the
well, right?
leaders. It would affect the leaders. It would affect them by. It goes from negative 10%, or sorry, it goes to plus 20 because they're the same religion. It
Yeah.
would affect it. It would affect the um, the head of families, which is what he needs right now.
Oh yeah. It would do a little bit of the head of the families. Yeah, if you went to paganism. Good point. Good point. Yep. It would be like 20 or 40.
So we are. This is not looking ideal with the discontent. Um, the best option he can have right now is a bunch of festivals everywhere. That's the only thing I can think of in this situation, which is just not feasible at all. Because festivals will take 7 years in some of these cities.
Yeah.
So he really needs to figure something out in here.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's going to be a lot of buildup right now. I think Blaj is aware. I would like to think Blaj is aware he's up against the clock. It would be very unfortunate to have the game run down and have Blaj not really make a move. The thing is I'm curious what he'd be. He has infantry square, so what I think would be interesting here. Oh, so yeah, he has 288 iron per turn, so we'll probably start seeing upgrades. Yeah, Interesting.
He needs to attack right now. He needs to figure something out.
I mean, I don't know about right now, but yeah, he definitely needs to figure something out. I mean, attacking into forts is a nightmare. I mean,
It's a nightmare. It's impossible.
it's
The
really
best he
hard.
can do is just go from the south and hope for the best. But
Yeah,
moving all of that force to the south is just gonna take you 10 turns
I
minimum.
definitely think he wants to. His zealot is only 33 years old, which is good. So he has another 20 or 30 turns of that, give or take, ideally. Um, So you definitely want to make. He's going to want to utilize the zealot. He has 172 civics coming in per turn. That means he can enlist almost every other turn. Probably if he counseled a city or two, he could get that to an enlist every other turn. And elephants would be a prime target given the army composition of Carthage right now. Again, only one spear on the table. So if I'm hoping we can see. Let's actually hop back over to Carthage. I'm hoping we can see Blaj. 6 turns to infantry square. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I was going to say I wanted to see maybe Blaj getting into a position where he's able to launch a reasonable attack before Alcaras gets infantry square, but I just don't see that. You might actually be right. His best chance might be attacking right now, even though it's not really the best situation to attack into. But I mean, what else are you going to do? In 6 turns, your opponent's going to have a bunch of 8th strength anti-route units. And I would not be surprised if he upgrades every single one of these guys that are already fortified in the front line, in which case, good luck actually trying to kill any of them.
We have our first Portcullis use from Blaj. He went for Sabrata. He also went
Nice.
for. He has a scout on the southwest of the map, traveling all the way around
To
the
the capital.
peninsula. Maybe he tries to get it to Carthago. That's one hell of an adventure, Marco Polo style.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's fun. Actually on that note, we are seeing biremes coming out of Babylon, and Carthage has no navy. It will be interesting to see if maybe Babylon can make a naval play here. I'm not really sure what that would be, but try to maybe circumvent Sabrata and Carthago Nova, do a launch in Neapolis, really flummox your opponent after all the
Oh,
setup
that
they've
would
done.
be huge.
That could be nice, yeah. Of course, because with his positioning in Utica, he doesn't. Blaj really wouldn't need that much in the way of anchoring to get over to this northern side. And even oh shit, we have a new development. Oh wait, was this already happening? Oh yeah,
What?
the Colosseum was already being built when we ended this session. I
Yes.
just
Yes.
reminded myself of
You
it. So
scared me.
I know that's another thing though. We have 10 turns until the Colosseum. So swordsman, 6 turns for mass pike upgrade if we want it, or as many pikes as we want. Oh yeah, there's more axes down here. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh man, not looking so hot for Blaj. He's up against the clock. He's gonna have to figure out a plan, but there's not an opening. There's not an opening.
Right now, honestly,
Ballista.
ballista, yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
a
because
bunch of
like if we look
ships.
here, a ballista will still do 8 freaking damage to one of these axes in these forts.
Yeah,
So I
it
mean,
would
that can
just
hurt.
throw a bunch of ballistas at the enemy and burn through them. What else? What else can he do here?
Yeah.
A ship and go all the way behind Sabrata, remove Neapolis out of the play, maybe.
2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the problem with the boat idea is that that's not happening in 5 turns. So in 5 turns,
Yeah.
your opponent's going to have pikes. 10 in 9 turns, they're going to have one beefy swordsman to deal with the pikes that we're just about to get. Although that would certainly make a nice listing target.
Yep.
This isn't Civ 1. No, it's Civ 5.
It's Civ 5 with some Crusader Kings
Yeah.
mechanics.
It's my version of Civ 5 because I just pretend the everything after 4 doesn't really exist. Well, I say that. Well, no, I don't say that with love. I stopped playing the Civ games. But yeah, no.
Once
Yeah,
you play old world, Civ games lose their
it's
meanings.
yeah. Yeah. Also, what's been really fun is I'm playing a three-player game right now, a three-player FFA, which um, might actually turn into my first one versus two because we're only a short ways into that game, and I'm already erudite and stronger than both the other players. So I would not be
Hmm.
surprised if they decide to team up against me. And that would be par for the course in an FFA. But anyway, it was really funny because at the start of that game, the two players I was playing with both said since the tournament got them into multiplayer games, it's been very hard to play single player uh, as
Oh
well.
yeah, I can't play single player anymore. I tried. I just can't.
As an avid single player gamer, it's particularly in this game, that's where like 95% of my 4,000 hours came from in this game, were all single player. I'll be honest, I've barely touched single player in the last month, which is pretty shocking to me.
I want to highlight one more thing for Alcaraz.
Hmm.
His next leader, or the heir, is a zealot.
Oh, that disgusting
Second in
20
line,
years old. We're
the
46.
second in line is a commander.
Yeah,
Alcaraz might be going on the attack.
this is terrible. This is terrible. This is not looking good for Blaj at all because at any point he can. I mean, his order economy is fine. His opinion is fine. So his civic economy is fine. So there is no penalty here for Alcaraz at this stage in the game if he were to just straight up abdicate. Right? He could take the legitimacy hit. He could take all of it. So at any point Alcaraz wants, he can swap into his own zealot. That's just gross.
It would be brutal if
That's
he
just gross.
goes for that
Where is
Acadian
she? Is she on
Archer.
anything yet? She's not a general yet. So we'll probably get her assigned to that swordsman when it comes out in a while, or maybe tossed on an elephant or tossed on a ballista. I could see that, or maybe one of these fresh pikes when it comes out. Trolling a side hazard, I actually semi agree with that. I think one of the reasons why Civ isn't my cup of tea anymore is oddly enough, I kind of feel like, and I don't mean this as condescending as it sounds, but I kind of grew out of it. I think I realized um, it's just not designed for me as a player anymore.
It's not complex enough. It
Yeah,
reached the
right.
point where it
And
became not
to be
complex
clear,
enough.
like I have friends. I have a bunch of friends who all play Civ, and that's exactly why they don't like Old World. They say, "Well, when I play a game, I want to relax. I don't want to have to basically spend 100, 200 hours just trying to understand the game." And I still learn things about the game, and I have a massive amount of time. So I can totally respect that view, and it's not a condescending thing. I don't think that makes them lesser or not smart or whatever. I mean, our free time is valuable, so spend it in ways that makes fun. Is fun for you. But for me, it's the complexity. It's the process of learning a game be a process, be a puzzle that makes me find gaming so much fun. That's why what I like about board games. I mean, I read rule books. I read board game rule books literally as a pastime. Half the board games I own, I've read the rule book first before I ever even bought the game. Yeah, no, I'm just the type of nerd where this game scratches an itch.
I think I gotta check the oven after the turn.
Yeah, very
Hey,
crucial
look,
update.
when you're hungry, you're hungry, man.
When you're hungry, you're hungry.
When your dog wants out, he wants out.
All right. Then the other thing that I like here too, although in fact I could see a little bit more of it. Another thing that you could think about doing that I might do in the situation with Alcaraz here, um, considering his end game economy, considering the use of orders he has, like again, we're building more improvements. Like, do we really need this extra quarry? Probably not. So, like, the one thing that I would start spending orders on, especially with traders' workers, is I would collapse all of these borders, and I actually might take a couple of turns with traded workers and put a road on every single tile in my empire. It might seem like overkill, but it starts to create a thing where, like, if you have a fort on every blank tile, if you have a road on every blank tile, then it just becomes so much harder and harder and harder for your opponent to tactically engage with you because you have perfect movement and flawless defense on every tile in your empire.
That is fair.
And of course,
7 orders.
that's not something I would do on turn 30 or turn 40 when I have 30 orders per turn and I still need to build stuff. But like, again, we're making 229 stone per turn. Do we really need another 3-turn quarry on turn 93? Probably not. This could be 3 forts, because a fort in friendly territory is 1 turn, as long as it has the correct worker. So 1 worker could build us 3 more forts. A traded worker, this guy could build us 3 more roads. You could literally just spam roads and forts on every single tile that isn't an improvement and say, hey, come at me, try and take my territory, I dare you.
It's Blaj's turn here, and the time is just got paused. He just finished land consolidation. He has the option between a Freemason, architecture, manor, or doctrine. In this situation specifically, I honestly I am tempted to say that baths is not a bad idea. Purely because it gives science and the happiness from it.
No, I
Because
actually
he
like.
needs.
I like architecture. I'm picking up what you're saying, but I like it for a different vibe. You get architecture, you adopt
Or doctor
engineering.
engineering.
No,
Yep.
you adopt engineering. That way you can try and deny some points from Alcaras. If Alcaras gets every single remaining wonder, he does not need to engage with Blaj for points, for point victory. So I would actually grab architecture here for engineering to make it easier for me as Babylon to ensure that I can deny at least 2 wonders from Alcaraz, because I'm pretty sure if we deny even 1, but certainly if we deny 2, I think Alcaraz will have to attack Babylon in order to win. And that's the thing that's going to make Alcaraz be forced to attack. And basically, so that's honestly, weirdly enough, that's kind of Blaj's win condition right now, too. In addition to trying to set up a situation where he can actually attack Alcaraz, he needs to build at least 1 wonder, preferably 2 or 3. That way he can force Alcaraz to attack Blaj and make this come down to a military confrontation. Of course, there's always tech points if we get that deep into the tree. So, I mean, that's why you probably want to grab as many wonders as you can as Blaj. So I actually like architecture for... The baths will be handy as well, but engineering, I think, would be a fine law to grab. In fact, you know who could use engineering as well? Because Fluffy mentioned in chat the stone output for wonder spam.
Don't tell me Alcaraz needs engineering too.
But he could actually use it. He could use engineering as well.
Oh yeah.
That would make it super cheap. Because the other thing is like it saves you civics, not just resources, right? So you typically make the civics back from engineering very quickly if you're wonder spamming.
At Blaj back, he just checked the oven. His food probably smelled good.
This is, by the way, I have to point this out. People talk about projects, and man, 4 and 4, man. This is a net yield of 8.9 civics, right? So let's take a look at let's take a peek at something. Do we have a? No, we don't have a blank. Well, no, I can make this master scribe. This elder, if this were an elder scribe, it would be giving me 5 civics per turn. Oh well, plus wait, what? I guess it would be more like 10ish, huh? It's generating. Okay, yeah, it's generating 12, right? I don't know how this is calculated on the tile. I don't know if this includes other source of civics or if this is just the
For the master scribe? And the
Yeah,
elder
but like
scribe?
the tile itself, I think the 20% also shows like what I think the 12 total shows.
It shows the courthouse. If you put your mouse
Yeah.
on the master scribe,
Mm-hmm.
at the bottom right in the tooltip, it will show you exactly the numbers. So the scribe will give you 3.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There you go. The master scrap will give you 3.
And the ministry is giving
while
us
the
9.
building.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. So yeah, that's a decent example. Then that's satisfying enough for me because this forum too, right? 2 turns will give us as much civics as this ministry pretty much is already giving us, and it would be. Actually, no, that net yield will probably include the ministry as well. Yeah. So
It will.
I love once you get your civics really ramping up. I love the projects. I mean, it's certainly a tall order to you don't really want to be building 5-turn 401s all the time, but once you start ramping up civic production, I mean, right here's another one. I mean, I guess it's probably a little overkill in the state seat, but 3.9 net yield in the state seat gives it to 80 civics per turn, but we technically don't need that, but that could give us the exact amount for decree 3. But again, with overflow, we pretty much don't need to worry about it. He's doing an archive 3, which is also interesting. Yeah, projects, man, I'm a big fan of projects. I think they get a bad rep. It's always funny because it's one of those things where everybody is like, oh, projects need to get buffed. Ooh, Blaj is exclaiming.
Okay. What did we do?
Curious.
What happened here?
Seems like he made a mistake, or seems like
Oh.
Oh, that always sucks. I did that once. I swapped. That's funny.
You might want to not tell your opponent this is happening.
Yeah, well, whatever. I think it's funny. What tile did he buy? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, down here he's tile buying.
In Kish.
It is. I have to say, I've warmed up to it. I love it. But man, it is frustrating with no undo when you make a mistake and you're like, shit.
I like how Blaj uses the action queue. It's actually pretty nice. I never seen any player use it.
Yeah, there's so many different things UI-wise about this game, like filters. I know you're one of the people who play with the filters turned on. I do not. I just don't understand how you can parse it all. It just feels
without it, I can't read anything.
Yeah, no, and it makes sense, of course, because I've had situations where it's like I miss that there's a pasture resource, and I go 40 turns without improving a pasture. So I 100% get why people use it. It's just it for me it makes the map feel cluttered and claustrophobic. So I take the handicap of not playing with it, I guess. But it's interesting.
I have ADHD. The clutter is important for me.
Yeah. But then there's the build queue thing. There's the automated roading that you can do. There's all sorts of different UI stuff that you can do, and I've never used most of it, to be honest. I've only recently, in the last 6 months or a year, started using this unit tab to keep track of stuff. Like I think I only found out like 6 months ago that when there's a highlighted green unit in the unit tab, that means that unit is ready to be promoted. I played this game for years without knowing that feature existed. Oh, man. So, I mean, the bright side is the Babylonian unique units are still in a position where they can do a sizable amount of damage. And a lot of it's going to translate to AoE. So I think we're going manor. Okay, that's interesting. Not sure how I feel about that.
Manor. That's an interesting move. Maybe wait. For the swordman.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Swordman's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Are we yeah, that makes sense. That's actually not a bad idea at all. Oh, dude.
What?
You mentioned Marco Polo. Alcaras is calling this scout Magellan. So both of you are tuning into the wild voyage of this scout that's desperately trying to make it. And it's so funny because you can see that as Alcaras, he can see that it's coming, and he knows what it's doing. He knows it's coming to put an agent network in his capital. So I might be tempted to rush out a couple boats just to try and stop it, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
Especially when my capital's making 65 science per turn. It's like, I don't want my opponent to have that. It would be pretty painless for us to do that right now. That's funny, though. That's cool. Wow, this is such a massive force. I'm curious how many... Let's see. We have 18 siege, 7 range units, so that's 25. 8 mounted units, 13 infantry, so that's 21. So we have 46 units in total out on the map for the Carthaginians. And if we look at the Babylonians... Oh, wait, don't I have a new hotkey to do this?
They probably do.
Yes, I do. I have to remap that because I don't like pressing Alt for some reason. But yes, I do. Wow. Thanks, guys. This is actually the exact game where I made this request. So another shout out to the developers, especially for those of you watching after the fact on YouTube. In part 2 or 3 of this game, I was going back and forth between these players too much. And I said, oh man, wouldn't it be nice to just be able to cycle back and forth between these as the observer? Without having to go up, because the original format was we had to go up to the nation tab right here and then alt click one of these, and then not even just the very next game update we get the request, and now I can just cycle between these two modes. So thanks, Mohawk, you guys are fantastic. Yes, so I'll try to keep remembering that. So the army in Babylon is, we're looking at 19 range units, 4 siege, 3 mounted, so that's 26, plus 16 infantry, so that would be 39. Something like 46 units to 39 in favor of Carthage. Oh yeah, that's smooth. I'm just going to get rid of the alt. Let's see if I can do that right now. I don't think I pressed 1 or 2 for any reason. Where would this be located? Ah, okay. Perfect. 1. Hockey. I don't care about that. Clear. Why is that not working? 1. Idle 1. Change will not be applied. Interesting. Sorry, stream, you guys are watching me struggle for something. Clear that. Clear that. Yeah, these are buttons I never use. In fact, even going through this, by the way, if you're watching, is a fun way to learn about UI features, because some stuff that I never knew within the game, I learned just by looking at what hotkeys existed. I was like, wait, you can do this with this button? I didn't know that. So if you're curious about some of the features in the game, go to the controls section and do a quick once over of all the different things that you can do in the game, and you might realize some things about different UI elements. All right, so let's see. Perfect. Oh yeah, that's so smooth. That is so smooth. Great. All right, so we are on Carthage's turn. Let's hop back over to Alcaras. Oh, that's so fantastic.
24 orders, and he's running out of building anything.
We do have a little bit of a tsunami down here and damaging some stuff, so we'll have to repair that, but not too bad. Not too bad. I can never really tell the difference between a tsunami and a hurricane. I guess the hurricane has rain that comes with it, but Building
The
the
hurricane, I think,
necropolis.
only affects the water tiles, or tsunami affects the urban tiles and the land tiles. I believe that's the difference
Oh,
between them.
okay. Okay. All right. I don't think I ever made that connection, but I suppose that does make sense. We're building monasteries. We're building more monasteries. That's crazy. We're building the necropolis now, which gives us.
Ooh, turn ended before he could
It.
settle or finish moving his catapult for Alcaraz.
Ah, that's all right.
Looks like Marco Polo is finally gonna reach Carthago.
Yeah. Let's make sure this. Let's check this out. I'm curious about the payoff here.
Oh, Necropolis is built for Alcaraz. He just started last turn.
Yep. Don't go and hydrate him. If he does this entire journey and goes in hydrate, there we go.
Here we go. Here we
I would have
go.
lost my mind. That would have been funny. All right, we braved to the other side of the Indian Ocean, and we found the legendary city of Carthago. Look at these beautiful
And
wonders.
there we go. He can get 13 science from one of these Asians.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all.
That is an increase of around 5 to 6% of his total science.
Yep, he now has 200 science per turn. Compared to Alcaras' 260, so he's catching up on that front. And again, he still has a science lead, I believe. Alcaras is still naive to Blaj. That's insane. That is insane to me. But I guess you were erudite to me the entire game that we were playing. When we ended, you ended on learned. So, I mean, I guess it
Yeah,
works.
it doesn't matter how much science advantage you have if you can't close the game.
That's true. Unfortunately, that is true. Alcaraz is making note of the fact that as the player who sees the network get formed, you actually get to see this. I don't know if it's for the full turn or if it just eventually disappears the next turn. So it will disappear eventually, but it is interesting because it does give the receiving player a little bit of a heads up if you didn't happen, if you weren't looking at this location and you didn't happen to notice the network show up. Eventually, you'll see this setup here. You'll see the scout, you'll see the 10 years, you'll see the icon, and it lingers there for a bit. I think it lingers there until the end of the turn, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what triggers it to actually disappear. So I'm not 100% sure if on the developer side of things, guys, if you're still watching, if that is intentional. I don't think it's the biggest deal, but it definitely does give the receiving player a definitive heads up and ability to track that a network was created in a particular location, which, might not be the worst thing, but still worth mentioning, worth pointing out. That will go invisible eventually. It does not stay there the entire time, though. It does go to where it's supposed to. It just takes a second. I can't remember if it actually takes the whole turn or if it happens mid-turn. It's like a little bit of a graphical delay on some level. Power. So we've been looking at science a lot. Their powers are similar, which makes sense because we basically did a count on that already. 4 turns on Infancy Square, 8 turns on the Colosseum, 13 turns on the Necropolis, and Alcaraz is just going to be... I think he's going to go up the whole line. I wouldn't be surprised if the Apadana was next, although personally I would go for the Mausoleum or the Acropolis, or maybe even the Chthon. All because I think there's strategic value there. The Mausoleum would help secure more victory points if we really have to stretch deeper into maybe extra legendary cities. I guess the rest of them are coming strong now, but the Mausoleum's always good for another legendary push. For example, we're 28 turns away from strong in our Statesman seat. Mausoleum could probably drop that down to something like 18. Which would be nice. Chthon helps us with the Navy. Acropolis, I actually built this in our game, and I did have a forum in every single city, so that was a decent order
Yes,
boost there,
the
which was nice.
Acropolis is really strong.
Yeah.
Because you only need farm level 1 in every city, and it just have an order for free.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too
And
bad. And at the Hittites, especially, the Hittites automatically, regardless of their terrain, they can build a forum 1 in 4 turns instead of 5 off the bat. So Acropolis has some interesting synergy there because it's pretty painless to make sure that all of your cities has a forum in it. If you're the Hittites. God, I love that faction so much. It's just I joke it's the best faction. I don't even know if that's true, but it's certainly my favorite.
it's a strong faction just purely because of the +2 civics that they get.
It's
Um,
that's it. I am obsessed with civics in this game. So when you give me a faction that just has 2 base civics in every city, I am sold. Granted, I mean, with something like polytheism, you could do something similar with Babylon or Greece, but that's just so much investment to get the same thing. To have 2 flat civics in every city is amazing. Oh yeah, Becht is mentioning the scout thing. Yeah, we don't know. I don't know if it's a bug or not. We'll find out. This is a relatively new feature, the way that scouts work with their agent network and hidden thing now, which frankly I love. I think it's a really nice change. I think what makes it particularly cool too is actually there's really good synergy with treachery now, and the reason for that is oddly enough, the fact that treachery can fail or remove the agent network can make it a bit of a hassle to invest in reestablishing the network. So having the ability to have a permanent, effectively, right, a permanently invisible scout, um, basically in the time that you set up this scout, if you were so inclined to run treachery missions, you could run 3 treachery missions, and if any one of them failed, you would still have this invisible scout nearby to immediately reestablish the network. And that's actually a surprising synergy that I think was entirely unintentional and probably not thought about when this change was made, but it's pretty solid because now you don't run the risk of having your scout out in the open nearby, um, waiting to be killed, and you don't have to march a new one from God knows where to set up an agent network if you're trying to spam treachery or something. So that's pretty nice. It will eventually it does disappear, Fluffy. So at this point in the game, certainly by now, I think Alcaras should not be able to see the scout or this one, but I think it does linger for maybe a turn. Two turns to manor on our Babylonian friends. Also, do I sound okay? Because I've watched one of my most recent streams, and I felt like I sounded too far away from the mic. So, just want to be curious that. Maybe I could bring this a little bit closer to me.
from Discord wise, you sound perfect.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know how it sounds on the stream.
I still never got around to getting myself a new mic stand, so I am dealing with a very janky solution here. Yeah,
Beck
I
says
noticed
you
that too.
do
Thanks,
sound
Beck.
good.
All right, thanks for letting me know
Yes.
that I sound good now. Yeah,
So
great.
I'm taking a look at the religions right now a little bit, and I did some little bit of investigating on why
Oh,
Blaj is kind of
holy
behind on
shit!
science. Go ahead.
Go. No, sorry. You by pointing out the religions, I just realized Alcaraz has another 6 points sitting right here. I always overlook these.
Yes.
This game is on
Yes.
lockdown. Is he even
So he
building any of
has
these?
3 religions for Alcaraz here. Blaj got Judaism on year 74. That is 20 years ago. But, or 20 turns ago. But he has
Hate it.
had monasticism since turn 15. He has no monasteries at all
Mm-hmm.
being built except one right now.
Blaj.
That is why he's behind. Yes, for Blaj. He only has
Yeah,
one monastery being built.
he saged into monasticism.
Yes.
Monasticism with free tech. He did one thing. He did do that I liked, that I thought was cool. It was he adopted polytheism, involved adopting Zoroastrianism as soon as it landed in our kingdom, because Zoro was founded in year 23. So you could have siphoned from Alcaras' religion early on if you wanted to not go for your own. We saw a player do that in the tournament once at one point, and it worked out very well for him. Oh, looks like we lost a little connection to the server, so we'll see if I log back on in. It happens every now and then. But yeah, so what I'm a little frustrated with now is Alcaris is building a monastery, a temple, and a temple. All three of these guys should be building the unique wonders of religion. Although I guess you still want to spend your stone on the global wonders to get as many of those as you can before your opponent gobbles any of them up. So he's still probably going to get the Apadana Mausoleum, or Acropolis, or Chthon next.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess there's actually sound logic to delaying the religious wonders because they're effectively guaranteed points. So I stand corrected on that, I guess. Still, yeah, the rider's seat is one, and then Leptis Magna down here is another one. Yeah, so he's got an extra 6 points. So basically, that means there is no way, no way, I think. Blaj would need to secure pretty much every remaining wonder in order to force conflict here, because of the religion wonders. And I just don't see that happening. So it's going to come to blows. Blaj is going to have to make a move. 2 turns to infantry square in Carthage. So not looking so hot. All right. Let's take a look at what's happening in the world today. There's just about 20 of you in the chat, so appreciate you all being here. Appreciate the support, appreciate the enthusiasm. Of course, if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, I hope you've been enjoying the tournament. Hope you're subscribing to all of the different YouTube channels, myself, Alcaris, Jams, Purple Bull Moose, all people who played in the tournament, plenty of people who casting. There are some obscure players who just created YouTube accounts in order to stream games, to provide coverage. So make sure you go to the official Mohawk channel, check on the tournament playlist, as that will include some games that are tossed up on YouTube channels that, only have like 5 subscribers or whatever, because it's just somebody who popped on to cover a game. And you get the full list of tournament games that we have recorded. We have gotten the majority of them. There's been about 50 some odd games played, and I think we have full recordings of maybe about 46, 45 of them, which is pretty amazing. And of course, the place to hang out and talk and chat about the game is Discord. If you join the Old World Discord, you can talk about the tournament, you can ask strategy tips, you can talk about the game of the week, make your own events, play online with other players. The easiest way to access the game's Discord is to just log into the game itself right on the title screen in the lower left-hand side, I think. Maybe right, but I think at the lower left-hand is all the links to Mohawk's social medias, and the Discord link is right there. So hop in and join the conversation. Would love to have you.
All right. Blaj is making a pikeman in Dilbat. 2 years, 2 turns. The pikemen to come out.
Yeah.
That is quick. He has 40 training in his in his hunter's family seat.
Yeah, two-turn pikeman's not bad at all, certainly. In fact, let's do a comparison of this. We have 40 training in this seat. We have any other good spots here? 15 there. What about front line? 16. Actually, I can just do the whole thing. Let's see. Our best city in Babylon is 40 training. Then we have 320s, which aren't too bad. That's still a 5-turn pikeman, not the worst thing in the world. All right. If we hop on over to Carthage, however, we take a look here, and we have a 36, a 35, and then we have a 25, a 20, and a 19, a 19. So overall, generally a little bit more consistent production here. But in terms of the highest possible training output, Babylon actually takes the cake. Not Babylon, the city, but the nation actually takes the cake with 40 training. Uh, so kudos to Dilbat for being the highest training output in the game. Not too bad. Not too bad. Of course, at this stage in the game, everything can transition into full-blown rush economies. So eventually training, oddly enough, can become irrelevant. It's important to have a consistent, steady baseline of some heavy training output cities. But even the worst city in the world, once it hits developing culture, can churn out a pikeman using something like Orthodoxy or Holy War pretty easily. One thing that's going to undoubtedly spook Blaj here. Alcaras is getting stronger and stronger. We're now at 2600 power compared to 2400. As soon as Blaj happens to see Alcaraz dip up into stronger, he will probably hit a panic moment. And I suspect that could very well happen once we see a mass pike upgrade. In fact, let's hop over to Carthage again and check out this economy and training. We have 1300 training. We have 2500. Sorry, we have 250 iron being made every turn. So if we stockpile this in the next 2 turns, we could probably upgrade 10 pikemen in 1 turn. Going to be a sight to see. We call that a mass upgrade. It's one of my personal favorite tactics. Just build a shitload of crappy units like warriors or slingers indefinitely as much as you can for the first half of the game. And then by the last half of the game, once conflicts are going to break out and your economy is fully humming along, you
Are you still disconnected? I think you're still disconnected.
Oh, I'm still disconnected.
You are
Shit.
still disconnected.
All right. Well.
Yes, we finished about 2 or 3 turns here, I think.
Oh
Maybe.
wow.
But
All right.
you're on 95? No, we're on 96. We're
So
96. You're
funny.
fine.
That's so funny. I'm just sitting here trying to fill dead air. All right. I'm gonna let them know I disconnected, and I'll have them rehost it then.
I think, might. Can you rejoin normally?
I cannot. I know
Okay.
you can. I don't know why you can, but I never can. I'll exit out and try, but before I message them, I guess. But I've never been able to rejoin a game after it started. Take a look. Yeah, it's not up. Well, thanks for catching that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you might wanna thank No Legs Kitten for that one. He's the
No,
one who
yeah,
made
no,
me realize.
that's who I meant. Yeah, thanks for the catching that
Yeah.
kitten. He's like, nothing's happening. Yeah. Where am I looking here? Yeah. Need a rehost. All right. So if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, feel free to skip
We
ahead.
have the Apadana being built, or Apadana
In
being
Carthage.
built in Carthage.
Yep.
Another one.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, if anything, that would have given me a heads up because you would have said the Upper Dawn is being built out, and I would have been like, wait, what? Where? All right, Alcaraz is rehosting for us now. That's annoying. Normally, I just hop right back in after a DC, and then I forgot to pay attention to it. Take a look. I'm addicted to the Discord, man. All right, we're back up here. All right, I'm in. Great. Let them know I'm in.
Okay.
And you never left, right? Oh no, well no, because since they
I
rehosted, you
have
had
to leave.
yeah, you had to leave. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right, so let's
trying to join now.
eyeball the Apadana. The Apadana is being built in Maleth. Makes sense. Cool, and we have the Necropolis also in Maleth. I like this positioning here because I mean this is going to help him get that extra point. You know, he's got 25 turns. In fact, with 25 turns, I might have even included. I might have even put the Apadana somewhere else, and maybe ramped up the culture in a third strong city, because in 12 turns we're already going to be, you know, another 13 turns away from legendary anyway. So might not really, might not be that
I
big a
agree
deal
with
to
you.
speed
The
it up.
Apadana in Malith is actually pretty huge, so he can get it to legendary faster, no? Because right now it takes 25 years or 25 turns. Um,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the Apadana is already going to take 12 turns to finish anyway.
that's fair.
So if we dropped it down in something like Tingus, right, which is 48 turns, down on this peninsula or whatever, that's going to speed it up. That's going to speed up 48 turns considerably. So I'd do something like the Mausoleum. I'd do the
The
Apadana
Mausoleum would have been a better choice for
and
sure.
everything down in Tingus, to especially even like the Necropolis. The Necropolis is a huge culture spike. So both putting the Mausoleum and the Necropolis in something like Hydratum across the bay from Carthage would probably be a better location than where they're in now. But I mean, whatever, it's points, so it doesn't really matter. And of course, Maleth is a safer location to put them in for sure, I suppose. Although I don't know, this
Until Blaj builds a bunch of ships and one
yeah,
shot Malith.
yeah. That happened to me. I lost my game against Ninja, not exclusively. There were other tactical elements in play, but he was against the clock on a wonder race, and silly me put one wonder in a peninsula far away from my capital, thinking it would be totally safe. This was not, to be clear, this was not a frontline city. It was definitively a backline city, but he managed to get there with ships and snipe it from me. And when push came to shove towards the end of the game, at the very last, final turns, I was just 2 turns away from winning the game before I surrendered, thereabouts, just a couple points, and the Hanging Gardens would have done it. The Hanging Gardens would have sealed the
Ended the
deal for
game.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, always fun. I love when games turn out that way. I love that, if as long as you're creative, as long as keep your head in the game, and you have the means, the technology, the whatever. It feels like there's always a way to puzzle out a path for both sides, right? Like, how can I win this game? That's my favorite thing to figure out. I love to be on the back foot, feel like, oh no, my opponent's going to win a point victory in like 15 turns. What am I going to do to win this game? Or the reverse, in my situation in that game, it's like, oh shit, there's no way I'm going to be able to win a military conflict with my opponent. Oh, but I have a crazy trader seat. What if I spam wonders and just mount an awesome defense? So it's like, I love the puzzling out of how to solve a situation. And Blaj certainly has a puzzle in front of him. 42 points on Carthage, 56 to win. 6 points in religious wonders left. So he, at the very minimum, has 48 points. Then Leptis Magna is 49, 50, 51, 52. Legendary Malith would be 53. So, yeah, call it 3 more wonders, and Alcaras has the game World Wonders. 3 more World Wonders secured, and Alcaras will have the game locked down definitively.
We are now finished with Manor for Blaj. He has the option between Metaphysics, Coinage, and 3 Onager and the Horse Archer. He went for Coinage, which is not the worst idea, seeing the situation he's in with his gold.
I like the idea of Cornish because that can hopefully help him buy a wonder.
Metaphysics. He's going for metaphysics.
Metaphysics. Also,
Is
I
he
can see
committed?
that. He probably has cartography pinged, and he does. He has both cartography and
Oh,
coinage
I
pinged.
disagree with him. He should have went for coinage to pacify cities. He
Interesting.
needs to pacify these cities.
Interesting.
He needs less discontent. I would have had that chance of running on the clock, taking
No,
all of these
pacify
cities.
is way too long. I think the thing
It
is this
is.
now he the clock is really ticking here. So I think his thinking here is he's building more bioreams here. He's building another bioream. It looks like he's going to build a shitload of bioreams. He's going to upgrade them all into triremes, and I think he's actually going to try and go around this shit show in the center. And when he
Just go
does,
for the capital.
yeah, I think, and I think when he does, that's going to force Alcaras to break ranks because Alcaras, Alcaras has exactly what he wants. He has entire military in a frontline, super fortified situation. So that's baiting your opponent. That's saying, "Come at me." You're not going to break in, right? That's a taunt, really. So if Blaj can actually get himself in a position where he can literally just go straight around and threaten this high point value core, then Alcaraz is going to have to send units off of the front line, and he's going to have to be in two locations at once. So I don't hate that as an idea. We'll have to see if it actually works out, but I think he's even rushing out a Byreme. So yeah, I think he's going to go heavy into this naval play. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 Byremes being built. One just rushed. He's got 3 out already. Yeah, I think he's going to go hard on triremes and try to make a path to the capital or Neapolis, and that's going to force Alcaraz to break up his positioning in here a little bit. Or, he'll just flood the coast with workers because that's stupid. That's my least favorite thing about the tactical element of the game, that you can literally just body block the coastline. Like, I have the unpopular opinion of thinking that I actually think that, at least if it's not a military unit, I think units making landfall should just be able to push units along the coast out of the way. I think it's so silly that if you are under siege from, coastal anchors coming in from the ocean, that all you literally need to do is just send your scouts, your disciples, your workers to the coast, and there's nothing your opponent can do about it. It feels lame. It's probably fine, but thematically and conceptually,
Thematically, it actually makes a lot of sense. Imagine if there's thousands of workers just standing on the beach with pitchforks ready to attack you. I think that makes sense. A little bit.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, I guess. But then my army of axemen, pikemen, and whatever else would just land on the shore and destroy you.
Yeah.
My issue isn't that the stuff is there. My issue is the stuff that shit literally can't even land.
No Lex Kitten says ships can attack units on the coast,
That is a fair point.
50,
That is a
and, fi-
fair point, but the issue with that then
amphibious
becomes
ships
is
make
that you
short
need
work.
even a larger navy to make a naval invasion possible. So you need ships to anchor, you need ships to protect from other ships, and then you need ships, not even just ships, but ships with the correct promotion, right? To be able to damage the pesky civilian blockade that's inevitably going to throw a wrench in your plan. So it's not that it is impossible, it's just that it's convoluted, and I just think it's lame that workers can be used to such devastating effect. But I mean, it's a thing, and it's arguably one of my favorite things to do when I'm the person doing it. I just think conceptually it's ridiculous. I'm probably the biggest person who exploits the ways civilians can be used to disrupt your opponent by, taking advantage of zone of control, taking advantage of movement pathing and all that stuff, or just gumming up the works. But it is a bit silly to me that basically a very strong tactical aspect of this game is just throwing civilians at the problem, getting them in the way of other shit. Not quite what I envision when it comes to military tactics, but I mean, here we are. It's one of those things that I think everyone thinks. That the civilian thing is an interesting thing because I do it, I talk about it, I love it, it's funny. But it's one of those things where I think Mohawk thinks that if they ever actually removed it, it'd be one of those things that I would rant and complain and whine about. But I actually, if civilians blockading became like let's say civilians existed on their own layer and like if a military unit walked over it, it just bumped them. You know, like invisible units get bumped, so like you could no longer just body block with workers. I actually would not complain about that. I would thumbs up that hardcore. Because I just think it's weird that if I have 40, I mean, you this happened to you. Ninja did this with you. He just spams workers as Babylon and then just either upgrades them to militia or uses them to get them in the way of everything, making it harder and harder to actually invade him.
Jams did the same thing with me, surrounding my chariot with civilians.
Yeah.
I was not really amused about it. I even wrote in the chat, please don't do this to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's certainly a viable tactic. It's a fun tactic. It's a funny tactic. I do love it, but conceptually, when we think about a war game, I think it makes zero sense. And I think from a design standpoint, I don't think, if it were my choice, I don't think it would have it actually be a thing. So I think, I guess, in some levels, I would be sad to see it go, but I would actually give them a high five if they ever got rid of that. Especially because...
Bulldogs is doing it to me right now in the match he and I are playing for practice.
Yeah.
So, and you were watching it too when it happened.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing, my biggest complaint, as with most criticisms of this game, is how it impacts the computer, right? How it impacts the AI. This is behavior that the AI simply does not and will not do, right? So when I'm playing a single player game, I can use civilian body blocking. I can use all of these cheap tricks that gets me an edge over the computer, and the computer just incapable of handling the situation. I mean, yes, they kill the units or whatever, but even if they're killing the units, that means now I know I can put a worker in a situation, the computer's going to kill that and not the more valuable unit that I care about that I'm protecting. So that's another reason why I've always kind of disliked the tactic, because it's just, it's gamey, it's exploity, it's like whatever, but it's also fun. It's hilarious. Again, it's hilarious to do to another player. My knife fight with Marauder at the start of our game, we were both using scouts and shit to harass each other. It was like literally starting unit versus starting unit, and both of us had our scouts in the situation, and that's it. And it's absolutely entertaining as hell, but it's just weird from a concept standpoint. That's my rant on that. So metaphysics in one turn. We're still back on Carthage's next turn. Still lots of beefy stuff. We're actually building pikemen now. 4 turns. I wouldn't be surprised if Alcaras decides to keep pikes close to his chest, although he should know that there are agents nearby, so maybe we'll see some upgrades. I would have assumed he would have upgraded at least some of these central axes to kind of maybe deny some... Ooh, excuse me. Route chains. Did either player have scholarship? Let me take a peek. We have scholarship in the...
No.
Okay, yeah.
Neither of them have scholarship. Looks like we're getting stirrups! There we go. He had the choice between scholarship, free horseman, architecture, and stirrups.
I like that.
He's going for stirrups.
I like that.
Except that he's going to be facing pikemen, so those they're going to be a little bit useless.
Seeing this, we can see the pike now, so that's a problem. But ignoring that for a second, certainly getting a read of the field that we're looking at. Yes, horseman is going to be, could be a potential high value unit. But the problem is not just that there's a pike in the queue, but that literally any single axeman can get upgraded into a pikeman, and that's unfortunate. So yeah, your horseman can get shut down. I wonder how much damage a horse archer does to a pike, because it still does that same It's still that same situation where it's a range unit attacking a melee buffed unit. So, but I don't know the calculation. I imagine it would probably be like 5.
It's the same as an axeman. Like it will deal the same damage to them as an axeman would, because they're both 5 strength units.
Okay. No, horsemen and horse archers are 6.
Yes. So axeman is 5 and spearman is 5.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. So let's see if we can take. Oh wait, I don't have any pikes yet. Okay, but that's cool. That's interesting. Not as good as.
So they would take the full damage.
Yeah. Do you have a pike up here? Pike would only. Wow, that's crazy. A pike only does 4 damage to these axes, fortified and forts. I love forts, man. I think we're gonna see a lot more forts moving forward in the tournament.
Where are you seeing a pikeman? I'm not seeing any pikemen on.
Blaj
here
has
it
a
is.
Blaj has a pike, yeah, in this arid terrain out here. I think that's his first one.
Wow. Well, he has Warden. He would deal 7 damage if he was on those barracks.
Oh wow! See, that's really nice comparison. Look at the difference in that chat, or if you're watching the game. It was 4 damage if we're attacking the flat, 7 if we're standing on this urban. That's nice. Good job pointing that out, Nozar. Thanks. I love pointing out the nuances like that. Yeah,
it's 25%.
25% makes a massive difference, man. 3 different damage. Especially because of the strength of this unit. That not like if this were a different unit, the gap probably wouldn't be that large. I think that can be confusing to follow sometimes. Sometimes you get a 25% buff and it only increases your damage by 1 point, but then other times it does by 3. And the reason for that is that the difference of strength between the 2 units actually does matter. Oh, forts and camels would be disgusting too because we have all this arid terrain. Yeah. That could be any.
Horse and camels versus horses. Have fun trying to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually something about forts that I think gets overlooked as well. Urban tiles add 25% defense to infantry units. Forts are 50% defense, but most importantly to all units. So even mounted units standing in a fort will get the defensive bonus, unlike if they were standing on urban. So your camels, your horses, all that stuff are all going to benefit from forts. Additionally, the mounted attack damage from a chariot, right? Let's see if I can give an example here. Everybody out in the open. Yeah. The axes out in the open. Doesn't look like we have axes out in the open, unfortunately. But yeah, this no longer counts as open and clear. So mounted get a bonus on, where is it? Yeah, mounted. Plus 50% melee combat bonus. Sorry, plus 25% attack bonus, excuse me, to open and clear, right? When the fort on it is no longer clear, right? So forts have massive strategic value in an open plane like this, and I think they get often overlooked. Yes, and when you unlimber a unit, you get a, where is it? Oh, interesting. The unlimber effect's not shown. But they have a negative 25 defense modifier. So in a fort, you're going to recoup some of that. And most importantly, a fort only takes 1 turn to build if it's in your territory and using the same family worker. So it's a very, very easy grab. I think they're about 40 stone, maybe 50. So they can be on the expensive side, but if you can afford them with your economy, man, they're very well worth the investment, in my opinion, when it comes into the late stages in the game. And then back to civilian stuff, you can fill all these forts with workers, making it even harder to kill, even with route change, because the worker is going to be buffed underneath too. Because nothing's more fun than trolling your opponent. Some of you may die, but it is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Rushing out a pikeman in Carthago Nova, that's interesting. All right, I dig it. Probably a civic rush.
He was also rushing a couple of towards the elephant
Oh no,
in
he's
the
ortho
outpost.
rushing. Of course he is.
He has
Yeah.
nothing to do with his orders.
I mean, this is a 1000% what you do at this stage in the game. I might have kicked this off this stage a little early in my game against Aaron, but I think this is 1000% what you're supposed to do with orthodoxy and why I consider it arguably one of the most powerful laws in the entire game. Because eventually you reach a threshold where your economy's on fire. You do not need to be spending your orders on improvements. You're not maybe in a position to attack, or maybe you're turtle up, you're defending. So literally, what are you going to do with 60 orders per turn? There's nothing. There's nothing you can do. So you literally will translate any city, even if it has dog shit training, like absolutely no training infrastructure, it can start churning out pikemen, cataphracts, whatever, every turn, one turn, indefinitely almost, because it takes like this is shit. I'll try to pay attention to this next turn when he slots into pikeman. It starts at something like 24 orders per turn to rush, and yes, it does scale up, but you get something. Oh, am I disconnected again? What is happening?
I lost connection to server too. We have
Oh,
5
okay. It
messages.
crashed. All right, it crashed. All right,
He
that wasn't
crashed.
me. All right, that wasn't me. Um. Okay. Well, it's fine. There, there's an auto. All right, so we'll try to get back into the action. Um, but I'll just finish out this rant anyway. So it starts at like 24, 27 orders or whatever. And yes, it scaled up, but it only jumps up an extra 4 or 5 orders each time. So at an order rate of like 60 orders per turn with several cities, you can spam something like an 8 strength unit pretty much indefinitely for the rest of the game, as long as you keep moving the city that's spamming the units around. So if you do that combined with high production trading centers, and as long as you have the economy to support it, man, you can basically churn out units like mad. You can just balloon your power, build like 15 units inside of 4 turns. It's just nuts, man.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think any rushing law is super powerful. But even Holy War, which you could make a case is stronger than Orthodoxy. One of the things I find fascinating about Holy War in particular is that it doubles the
It's
economic.
rehosted.
Oh, great! It doubles the economic cost of rushing, because if your economy can't support the units, well, then you have to buy the resources, right? So in addition to rushing with money, you also have to buy the resources with money. However, with orthodoxy, you don't need to do that. So you can just spend all of your economy on the resources itself. And then the other thing is, when you think about it, even if your economy is amazing enough to support both, um, technically speaking, in terms of actual income per turn, you never run out of orders. Like, you run out of orders if you spend them all in a turn, but it's not like I can go from having 2,000 gold per turn to having 0 gold per turn. We pretty much never run into a situation where you go from having 60 orders per turn to having 0 orders per turn. That's the other reason why I think orthodoxy is so powerful, is because once you have such a wide berth or of order economy, nothing is really going to drain that. So you can literally just spam as much units off of that orders every turn. It just gets so strong, and you're never going to run out of your stock. Like, unlike your gold, like if you had 20,000 gold and you used all of that to rush units, well, eventually you're going to run out. But your your orders next turn, you're just gonna have another 60 orders that you can use to rush 2 units. Or even if it gets so expensive that it's only 1 unit, it's gonna take so long for 6, 7, 8, 9 cities to get to that point where you literally can only rush 1 unit per turn. So yeah, dude, it's a disgustingly strong law. I'm in.
I am in 2, so we're good to go.
Yeah. All right, it's Carthage's turn. It looks like he's going to end his turn now. Yeah, because with the autosave. Makes sense. Kitten says, trolling your opponent is indeed very fun, but routing through their stuff is very fun too, he contends. Yes, of course you can route through the workers that you get set up here to try and block that. All right, so yeah, Blaj is setting up a network in Neapolis. I mean, the nice thing for Blaj is that he basically has full vision of the entire Carthaginian army. Of course, he doesn't necessarily know that. However, I mean, this is what Alcaras is working with. So you can make your game plan to see how am I going to deal with this, which is one of the reasons why we're probably seeing ships come out as a solution to this problem. Because how can you break into this massive defensive force? Well, maybe just go around it so you don't have to. And he'll be aware shortly that Alcaras has no navy whatsoever. It still feels like a long shot to me, but it's definitely not a bad idea. I think the plan is sound. I don't know if it's going to work, if that makes any sense. Sounds a little paradoxical, I suppose, but we'll have to see. It's going to be a bit of a Hail Mary. It's a bit unfortunate that they had such of a break, because I imagine I think they had a 2 or 3 week break from their last session. I imagine coming back on that can be a bit tricky. I love that feature so much. I have to figure out a way to let the person I'm talking to in Discord be able to hear my sound effects so I don't sound like a madman when I'm pressing buttons. What's this one do? This one might be a little loud, so I apologize to chat if this one's loud. Yeah, that's fun. I don't know if any of you guys have listened to the thing, but these death emojis are hilarious. This is one of the male dying sounds, and I'm not going to harass everybody with all of these, but I'm just going to play one because it's just too funny. My partner and I were listening to these last night, and we were just dying laughing. So this is one of the sound effects of a unit dying in the game. Oh. Sorry, I have the sense of humor of a freaking 12-year-old sometimes. That's just so funny. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use those emojis to express feelings in the game when, like, oh, someone beelining land consolidation when they have 8 groves on the map. Oh, that's so good. I probably won't do that because I feel like I'd lose viewers, but maybe.
You'll not lose viewers. They'll enjoy it, maybe. 16 orders left for Blaj here.
Yep. Anything
More
else
biremes
interesting?
are coming out.
Dude, the bireme push is insane. He's wait, what is he on? He has a zealot.
Cimmerian Archer being built in Dilbat, 4 turns. Finally, he's building more of them because he kind of stopped for a second. I feel like the Cimmerian Archers would be perfect for this because he can just hit the onagers one by one and just clear them out with 1 horse and 1 chariot.
Mm-hmm. What I find fascinating, What I find fascinating is really in this entire session that we've been watching, I find it fascinating that Blaj hasn't attempted to get a single wonder. I mean, maybe he realizes it's pointless. Maybe he did the calculation that I missed about the Holy City situation in Carthage. So maybe he's thinking it literally doesn't matter. I'm just going to put my economy into units and everything else. So, and maybe that's the correct play. Building roads. Interesting. Roading. The other thing I'm curious about, I wonder if Blaj thinks that Alcaras is going to attack him. Because I think sometimes players can get that wrong too. I've played a couple of games where, I got closer and closer to winning and I kept anticipating my opponent to come stop me. And then they never kind of did, right? And then when I had the post-game discussion with the player, I found out, they were like, oh, well, you had this military force. I was waiting for you to attack. And I was like, why would I attack you if I just have a point victory, 20 or 30 turns away from now? I'm not going to risk losing the game when I'm just sitting here waiting to win. So I would be curious to get Blaj's perspective of this session in particular about what he's thinking his path to victory is, or if he's aware that he really needs to shut down Alcaras. And again, the Byreem play is making me think that he's formulating a plan here to kind of if even with these roads, right? This road's going to make it easier for him to hit the coastline. So I'm thinking he's probably going to stage as many units in this region as possible, come up with a shitload of triremes here, anchor as much as he can along this coast, and then just launch into the core and just hope for the best. Which, I'll be honest, regardless of whether that works or not, like as a successful strategy, it would be absolutely delightful to see. Oh, we have cartography coming out in Carthage, though. That's a bummer because now we can start ortho-rushing triremes. So in fact, let's take a peek. Does Blaj have doctrine?
Oh.
He doesn't. I hope
Cartography.
I hope this
That
happens.
is a good response.
Yeah. Well, because he can see with his agent networks, he can see the buildup of Byremes.
Byremes, yeah.
So this is actually going to emphasize the point of ortho rushing and its strength, in my opinion, that I just went on my little rant on, because we've been seeing Blaj preemptively build a navy here to mass upgrade into triremes. Makes complete sense. We're building Byremes all over the place. 100% makes sense. That's a sound strategy. That's what you do. I'd be curious if the turn after we get cartography here, if Alcaras just craps out a bunch of triremes, and that's really going to demonstrate the value of the fact that in the time it takes Blaj to get cartography and upgrade all of his Byremes into triremes and launch his naval invasion, Alcaras is going to have a navy because he's just going to rush it all out. He doesn't need to worry about build times anymore at this stage in the game. And this is Alcaraz' favorite type of game to play. Not even because he's good at it, but because this is the level of tactics and decision making and strategy and planning, right? Once you're at this stage in the game, that is just a whole different level of game that you could play for Old World. Like if anyone takes a check at my game versus Marauder, right? That game was won, tactically speaking, with a cadre of about 6 to 12 units, right? Now, I had some units die, and, I built more units, and he had units die and built more units, whatever. But I don't think either one of us ever had, in a particular conflict, actually actively fighting each other at any one moment, any more than 6 to 12 units. So when you think about that, that is a completely different game than what we're looking at right now, where we have 30 units, 40 units or more on the game, various different unit types. This goes back to the level of where I say like tactics are my weak point, because you give me 50 units and I start to lose any sense of what I'm even doing with any of it. But you hand me 12 units, or like, my knife fight portion of that match, a warrior or two and a couple scouts and a worker or whatever, then sure, I'm on
We
point.
have
But,
another crash from Alcaraz.
oh shit, another crash, huh? Oh man. Uh-oh.
In the middle of his turn.
All right, we'll do another rehost.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. Thanks for keeping an eye on that, Nizar. I don't really have the. I have to tab out to see my Discord chat, so gotta go and get
You're
another.
fine. It's my
Model.
job. I'm the co-cast. This is what I do for you. You're welcome.
Yeah, great. You're doing great. But yeah, so it's very, very different games. 30 units versus 12 units. Both flex different skill sets, different ways of thinking, different ways of reading the map, terrain, and all things like that. So I really have enjoyed that the tournament has showcased all the different kind of types of ways that these games can unfold. We've had massive stalemates, we've had massive battles, we've had small skirmishes, we've had swift, like game defining early 20 turn rushes. We've had insane comeback stories. We've had all types of games all across the tournament. So if you really have been enjoying this content and you haven't watched every single game, I know it's impossible to watch every single game, but if you're craving content, I know it's
So,
probably. Were they back
quick
up?
update. I know that you're talking about
Yeah.
all of that, but it sounds like
Yeah, it does.
that they want to call it
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
They just rehosted it, but they prefer to call it.
All right. Yep, that makes sense. They were only going to play for a few hours today anyway.
Yes. I mean, personally, if I get those two crashes like that, I
Yeah.
would give up, like especially mid-turn with 60 orders.
Yeah,
That took me 5 minutes. Yeah, that's a rage quit moment right there.
yeah. Yeah, so it makes sense to make a break. That was and we unfortunately I had to ask them to rehost, so that would be their third rehost already. That would be
Yeah.
frustrating. All right, yeah. So just to end on the note where we were at, if you have been enjoying all the multiplayer content from the tournament and you haven't watched every game, even though maybe spoilers, who wins or whatever, definitely go back and check out as much as you can if you have the free time and if you've been enjoying this type of content, because there's all sorts of very, very interesting games that showcase different elements about the game. I'm going to do a recap of stats just to see where we're at. Military score, pretty much neck and neck on turn 97. Science, still a lead here for Alcaras. Doesn't show us the total throughout the rest of the game for some reason. A little bit of a display issue there with the new save, but that's fine. It looks like, both players are competent. That's not what you want to see if you are Babylon. Babylon
Right.
started the session with erudite and now they're down to competent. That means not only has he equalized, but you can pretty much assume at that point, if you've been erudite all game, that your opponent now has a drastically better science rate than you do. Because there's otherwise no way they would catch up if they were running even with you all game. Alcaraz actually had the crowning ambition to get 7 wonders. So that's going to be an easy extra 10
basically
legitimacy
has
for him.
it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. He has it. He has the 2 wonders being built right now. And military units, we have 63 units in the field, well, produced all game anyway, to 54. I think the actual number in the field is close to like 45 each, give or take. Yeah, so I think we'll call it here. Nazar, thank you for co-casting,
Let's look
buddy.
at the amount of improvements for both players.
Sure.
I think the viewers would really appreciate
281 for our man Alcaraz to 192 for Blaj. That's just an insane
that.
difference.
Wow.
Yeah. 100
That's
more
not a
improvements.
small amount.
Not a small amount difference at all, yeah. Alcaraz is not shy about just going crazy on his economy, of course, indeed. Of course, Alcaraz has the lead on orders here, and he has access to 2 different decrees, thanks to his statesmancy, and he will be able to basically 1 or 2 turn both decrees. Looks like he's still going for elder monks in his capital to get to himself enough, excuse me, civics into order to one turn Council 4 as well. And he's pretty close to that with overflow at 81 civics per turn. He's pretty much close to that. So he'll be able to one turn decree 3 and one turn decree 4 almost indefinitely
That is
for the rest of the
21
game.
orders.
Yeah.
21 orders for free. Just
Yeah.
do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah. It's wild. So Blaj has his work cut out for him for the next session, but we will have to wait to see how that unfolds. If you tuned in to this game, appreciate you being here. I know it was just a build-up session, so I hope you were interested, engaged, and entertained. Nazar, thanks for keeping me company, buddy. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
It's always a pleasure to help in the community. So thank you for allowing me to do what I enjoy.
All right, thanks, buddy. All right, we're going to end the stream here. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.